Hey, everybody, we're live once again. I want to thank all my viewers for your support this week. Been an incredible amount of going on, and I want to introduce my new friend, Tareq Salahi, who really I kind of feel like I know because of his videos, and Gloria Allred, who I interviewed at the Night of 100 Stars Oscar party, as a number of people might remember, and all that. But this man is a true legend who has actually played polo with my friend Michael Downing since they were at UC Davis. And we're going to learn about his fantastic team, Polo USA, and their win in they defeated Team Ecuador. How about that? 2024 International Polo Tour World Cup Invitational. Congratulations. And you were in
Thank
South
you.
America, played at 10,000 feet, holy altitude.
Yeah.
Tell us about the win, the team, and how your organization came together and Polo and its growth.
Well, Lenny, thanks for having me on your show. Great to be here, and it's great to be talking about polo and the United States efforts playing in the World Cup Invitational. I have to give many thanks to really before this game even came to life. You have to go way back to even UC Davis and when I grew up, with horses. But UC Davis has such a strong intercollegiate program, and that really developed players to becoming professionals or organizing professional pro-am teams, and we were national champions at University of California Davis, UC Davis, and my friend Michael Downing was a teammate. We accomplished a lot together, and that's really you really start your leadership skills at a younger age, and at the university level you develop that into a much more serious uh, if you want to say profession, because it is a profession. In our case, we are a pro team. We're a pro organization with the International Polo Tour. We travel the world, and we travel the world with our corporate sponsors. In this case, the luxury cruise line industries like Scenic Ultra Luxury Cruises, both in ocean and in river cruising. And that's just one example of a wonderful partner. And when we go to different parts of the world, we will put on international polo tour matches in different ports or different destinations like Buenos Aires, Dubai, Europe, and of course throughout the Caribbean and Asia and Australia, where we've played. So it's a wonderful organization, and with the organization, we have been invited to a number of world-class competitions. And in this case, a big feather in our cap was winning the World Cup Invitational just a few weeks ago in South America at the La Palma Polo Club Resort in Quito, Ecuador. And yes, you said it, playing at 10,000 feet, it is challenging, especially for the American players. We're not used to playing at that altitude. The horses are already there, so they're acclimated for that altitude. However, the players are not. So we have to take special ascent medicine several days prior to getting on the flight and landing in Quito, Ecuador. And it's tough on us. It's tough on our lungs. I mean, we're winded, just even, walking or trotting or cantering with the horses just after a few minutes because of that high altitude. So we have a great disadvantage in that case. And of course, the other disadvantage is we don't know the horses.
Yeah.
We do not travel with the horses. Only kings or royalty or billionaires, if you will do that. But it's very rare. What's common is when we travel to an international city, we play the host club's horses. And in turn, when they come to the United States, they play our horses in the United States. And this is the common reciprocal that we've been doing since I've been playing polo. Prince Charles, King Charles now, when we would play the royal family in England, we would always use the Combined Services Polo Association horses there, which are really owned all by the military. And I was very fortunate enough to captain the United States polo team against King Charles, Prince Charles at the time.
Wow, what was that like?
2005. Yeah, 2005 in Cirencester, England, and he retired on my game. And there's a picture out there on the internet. I'm sure there's one on the Polo Tour website. You'll see him giving me a trophy. I said, why are you giving me a trophy? You know, he's never given anybody a trophy. And when you look at him, when you see the picture, we'll have to make sure you get it. You know, it's a very rare, unique picture because it's a genuine smile. You can even see in his jugular, you know, all the blood rushing because he's so excited, so proud to be retiring from the game of polo that he loves so much, that he's been playing as a childhood. So, you know, there are many wonderful moments in polo that we've been very grateful to have, you know, representing the United States for Polo Team USA with the International Polo Tour, and, you know, winning the World Cup in Ecuador. And this is the individual trophy that was awarded to each player.
Nice.
And why it's so unique. Well, first of all, there's never been a trophy, designed like this.
That's on your Instagram page too.
It is on the Instagram page. And
yeah.
There's a nice story about, you know, the fact that it's all procured from Ecuador, the wood, the marble, the grass, the gold as well. You know, everything is from Ecuador. So it's a beautiful trophy. Retails about $25,000. The perpetual trophy, which is about an 800-pound Galapagos turtle trophy made of silver and gold, is $1 million in value, wow. And that stays home. That stays at the home club where we competed in the World Cup. But at the end of the day, it's teamwork. You know, it's not the team captain. It's not, you know, one individual. It's teamwork between all four teammates. And my teammates are Marcos Bignoli, born in the United States, Argentine blood, but born in the USA. Of course, Nazar Zaka, an American hero with hostage aid. He's an amazing man that's done amazing things. And then we have Audrey Wild, a female polo player, accomplished, outstanding player. And we're proud to have a female on our squad representing Team USA for the International Polo Tour Association. And everybody played incredible. I mean, we played the hardest we've ever played. We were losing the game by 4 goals, almost the entire game, to the very, very last chucker. And in the last 30 seconds, we were awarded a penalty shot, and Marcos Bignoli scored it in right through the uprights. And we were fortunate to take the gold home that day. We were crying and in tears and hugging each other. And I'll tell you what, the Ecuadorians are great at, or anybody from South America. They put on the greatest after polo party events that I've ever seen in the Polo Association anywhere in the world. So nice. A quick look at our Instagram, and you can see the fun that they put on for us and for the victory. And we're proud to be partners with, you know, South America Polo and the Ecuador Polo organization, and especially La Palma Polo Club. It's a resort hotel, 5-star property. And I encourage any of your viewers that want to participate in the future, they should book into the hotel, because the hotel has suites that face the polo field. So you have the best viewing right there at the club, and you don't have to go anywhere. It's all inclusive, all the food and beverages you can imagine, with all our partners and sponsors, from, you know, Aperol Spritz to, you know, champagnes, from Dom Perignon to Huéplico to Stella Artois beers, and all the local products made, of course, in Ecuador. And Monster Energy was a great partner, as was Samsung, and We Productions is one of our newest partners, and we're really grateful for their support. We Productions has been doing wonderful things for the sport and advocating for the sport with the International Polo Tour Association. And you know, at the end of the day, we're here to advocate the sport and allow the sport to grow. Our fastest sector in polo is right now in growth wise is the female side. We're getting more female entries into learning the sport, interest in the sport, and then eventually buying horses and starting a team or participating with another team. And, you know, Audrey's a great case in that. So is Nazar. They both played for Polo Team USA with the International Polo Association. So, you know, these are wonderful examples of how getting into the sport, you know, it is accessible. It is available. You don't have to start out with $1 million. You can enter, you know, in a very simple way with, you know, 1 horse, 2 horses, or just even renting horses from your local polo club anywhere in the world that your viewers may be, or that may have interest. So it's an exciting time for us in polo.
I think viewers would like to know, because you are playing at 10,000 feet. You're not familiar with your animal.
That is true. We have about 30
how did you deal with all that? That is the ultimate terror in sport.
It can be very challenging. I mean, there's an old saying: if you can mount them, you can beat them. So I mean, the horses are put into a draw, and they're supposed to be drawn out evenly and fairly amongst all players. So one of the teams in South America doesn't get all the best horses. So we trust the process. The process works well. We trust the handicap system. The handicap system works well in general. And but it's still difficult because we only have 30 seconds to figure out each horse, when we're playing. So in polo, we ride 2 horses per chukker. Okay. So we're playing 6 chukkers. At the high elevation, we played 4 chukkers. So every player has to have 2 horses. A chukker is a period, and that's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. So halfway through that chukker, that period, we change horses at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So we get a fresh horse. Now, the horses are acclimated already to the altitude, so that's not really the issue. But we play them hard, and they want to be played hard. Polo horses love the game. But your teammate, besides your teammates, on the horses are clearly also the horses themselves. And, in my opinion, everybody has their own view. My opinion is 80% of being an accomplished polo player is your horse. If you have a good, strong string of horses and horses that you trust and you play well with, you're 80% there. And you've got to be an accomplished rider, and you've got to have great eye-hand coordination, to be able to hit the ball moving at 150 miles an hour and cantering or galloping at 35 miles an hour. But it's an addicting sport. Just talking about it, I want to go out right now and go hit the ball around. We call it stick and balling, but yeah.
But it says something to your talent to be able to govern a horse you've never ridden before at an altitude that causes breathing problems for the normal person.
Yeah.
And another country, not the United States. And yet that really tests your mettle as an athlete, huh?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, listen, I'm not getting any younger, but it's tough on the lungs, and then it gets tough up here. So you got to keep your mind really focused and not panic or get any anxiety that why am I short of breath? I hope I'm not having a heart attack. Polo is, according to Sports Illustrated, is the most dangerous sport in the world next to Formula One. At least in Formula One, you got a seatbelt, you got head restraints.
Right.
We don't have seatbelts in a saddle. We don't have any restraints whatsoever other than our helmet. I mean, look, if you play back the video, I got hit by one of the opponents going down. We're both moving at 40 miles an hour at the high speed. I was taking the ball to goal, hit 2 shots, boom, 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 was about to go in goal. Before my last shot in, the player went for a back shot, but he missed it and he hit me in the face. Now, if I wasn't wearing a face guard, and I wear a face guard, like an NFL face guard, okay? Yeah. Not all polo players do, but I do, because I play a lot of stadium arena polo, which is even more aggressive. But I played that on the field. Now, if I didn't have that face guard, I would have definitely been knocked out, definitely broken nose, and probably lost all my teeth at a minimum, and possibly even lost an eye. If the mallet hits you right here or here under these 2 bone points, the eye can pop right out. And that's happened in polo. I've seen it happen with other players. So it's really important, you take care of yourself and you wear the gear that you're comfortable with, at least a minimum eye protection. But I go for the full face guard, and thank God I did, because this face would be in surgery right now if I didn't wear that face guard during the World Cup game.
So you've got your next event coming up in 2025, September 7th, 2025. Tell us about that.
This year. So this September 7th.
Oh, it's this year. I'm sorry, 2024. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, 2024.
No worries. No worries. Yeah, so September 7th, there will be another international match, and that will be hosted in the Capital Region, USA, outside of Washington, D.C. And that's at the Twilight Polo Club in Middleburg, Virginia. And that's September 7th, benefiting We Will Survive Cancer. So that organization is a 501c3, and they're the charity organization putting it on that helps and supports patients with cancer. And Gayla Bynum is the president of that organization. She does wonderful things supporting those families that are afflicted by cancer. And also my wife, Dr. Spoden, is also the co-chair, co-founder with Gail Bynum at We Will Survive Cancer. So it's for a great cause. It will be a mini version of what took place in South America, but who the United States is playing is not yet announced. That's going to be announced soon. It may be France to honor the upcoming games in Paris, as you know, with the Olympic Games coming on, and a nice tribute there. And what most people don't know, Zenny, is that polo was the highest spectated sport in the Olympics before World War II. And
no, I didn't know that. I did. I'm an Olympic fan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. There were over, now imagine this, before World War II, over 100,000 people used to watch the polo in the Olympics. And the question is, why didn't it continue? Well, the answer is interesting, because the history of polo goes back really to the military. So all the horses were owned by the military, and at World War II, they were recalled to duty. So the horse was taken out. Polo ended in the Olympics at that point, and then polo never came back. So it's organizations like the International Polo Tour and other polo associations throughout the world that continue to honor and support the long history and the fact that polo is the oldest sport known to mankind. That's undisputed, over 2,500 years old. And it's a team sport, like I said before, and keep emphasizing, between horses, the players, ourselves, our grooms, our trainers, our what we call our onshore and offshore staff and support during activation and advocating, and of course, wonderful support from the press and the media like you, Zenny. So we thank you for supporting Polo Team USA, and thank you for having me on the show. And listen, I love talking about polo, so this is easy to do. And I'm proud of my teammates. Most importantly, we worked really hard to get here, and we couldn't be prouder of what we've accomplished and the amount of teamwork that went into the production as well, with We Productions and the management and all the logistics, on site, with food and beverage, hospitality, international rock stars that are performing from South America, from Argentina on stage, and the television partners down there. So it's an incredible project that, we've already started working on it for next year, because we are now defending champions.
Right.
So we won't have to play the other countries. We won't have to go play like Brazil or Chile or other countries, since now we're defending the cup.
Hey,
okay?
Talk about your teammates. Introduce us to your teammates and talk about them.
Yeah, so let's talk about Marcus Bignoli first. Marcus Bignoli has been playing with our team with Hotels at Sea Cruises, and that's the main sponsor with Scenic. He's been playing with me for now over 10 years. I've known the guy before. I've known him technically when he wasn't even born yet, when he was inside his mom, and then who knew that he was going to be the rock star pro for Polo Team USA.
Hey, if you're watching, I didn't tell him to say that, by the way.
Yeah. And he's such a wonderful gentleman, and I'm very particular when I assemble a team. They must be professionals at all level. Meaning we don't tolerate abusive behavior of any kind. We want ladies and gentlemen out there on the field. Sure, there'll be moments where there's fouls and there's things where people will burst out like, hey, you're fouling me, you're doing this, and whenever you see us, raise our hand. In fact, like, this is the team jersey, so it says foul here. So we raise our mallet here when there's a foul being committed against us. Like, hey, call the foul, umpire. We want them to blow the whistle. Marcus Bignoli, amazing player. He would be in the NFL. He would be considered the Tom Brady. Okay, he's got the big pass, right? And I'm Gronk, so I'm the wide receiver. I play the one position. So I'm waiting for my Tom Brady, in this case, Marcus Bignoli, to make the big pass. I'm 150 yards moving around the polo field, and he's that accurate. He puts it right by my mouth side at the same speed as I'm moving, going towards goal. So my job would be hit it once, maybe twice, maybe three maximum to get into the goal. So that's Marcus. He plays the number 3 position. Your number 3 is generally that if you want to call it that, Tom Brady, that quarterback. That's your big hitter. Okay. Then you have, like I said, the number one, which is maybe the Gronk. That's your offensive player. I'm the wide receiver. And then we would have your number two, number four. Our number two is Nizar Zaka.
Mhm.
And again, he's an American. He's an American hero. He now runs hostage aid, where their job is primarily to get all hostages out of their situation, whether it's a Wall Street Journal journalist stuck in Russia, or the Israeli Hamas war with the hostages on both sides. That is his mission, to get these hostages out wherever they are in the world. And the reason he's so passionate about it.
Bravo to him.
Oh yeah, bravo to him. And the reason he is so proud about it, and I asked him if it's okay to talk for a moment about it, is that he himself was a hostage for 5 years. He was kidnapped in Iran, and you can Google him, Nizar Zaka, tons of stories about him all over the world. But he was an invited guest over there, and then they kidnapped him, and he was sadly a hostage for 5 years with no communication to the outside world. And then President Trump and his team eventually got him out.
I remember that. Let me get this straight. He was invited and then kidnapped by the people who invited him?
That's right. There were political issues going on at that time. They accused him of being this and that with the government. Whether he was or not is really irrelevant. But you can't keep Americans hostage. Certainly, the policy of the United States is that's unlawful.
Yeah.
But now look what Nizar's done. He started hostage aid with his lovely wife Carol, and their mission is to get all hostages out. And we're proud of him. We're proud of him being part of Polo Team USA and participating. And he's a great player. And he lives in the capital region area. He's always close to Washington D.C. and also up in the United Nations.
For obvious reasons, right?
Yeah, for obvious reasons. And then of course, last but not least, our number 4, Audrey Wild, lovely polo player, female polo player, beautiful blonde, runs a professional company. She's in the financial business when she's not playing pro polo, pro-am polo, but she also has her own polo operation, private one at her farm in Virginia. And this was her first year invited to participate with Polo Team USA with the International Polo Tour at the World Cup. And she rocked it. And, she's just a strong player. So, I assemble players that are strong both here and on the field. And you got to have both. And it's really important, because you got to have that balance of, if you're not happy with that horse, or the horse is giving you a hard time, you got to learn how to change your position of, well, I still got to find the strengths of this horse. What are the strengths of this horse? If it's maybe not making an offensive play, it might be a defensive play is a stronger play for that horse that may not want to cooperate if that's going on. So all these players that I've mentioned, our teammates, are brilliant, both as athletes on their horses on the field, and also here in the mind of how to anticipate and handle any problem given by, that may be given, whether it's, again, the altitude, high altitude, or the horse that you're maybe uncomfortable with or unsure of, or not sure what it's going to do next. These things happen. And that's the excitement of polo. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all adrenaline junkies. That's polo players. And we love the sport for that very reason.
I'm taking a bit of a risk here in terms of, did I get it right?
Yeah, there she is. Yep. That is Audrey. Yes.
Vice chair of the board, McLean, Virginia, DC Investment Partners. And it looks like we're already connected. Wow. How about that?
Oh, very good.
She's one of my almost 18,000 connections.
Wow.
So you and I are connected with Michael Downing, and then she's connected with me on LinkedIn. Who knew? How about that?
Small world.
Sure is.
World. Yes. Yeah. You'll have to tag her and our teammates after this interview.
I will. I'm gonna definitely I put this up twice already, but I didn't know she was part of that. Hey, so
yeah. And she has announced, by the way, she just informed us she is going to be part of the defending team for Polo Team USA. So this same team will go back to defend the cup.
Wow.
We are excited about that.
So basically, the Patriots record lives on in a sense.
Yes.
Right?
although the hotels that see Polo Team, it looks a little bit like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ours is a little bit more cooler, but I'll get a little closer. You can see the hotels that see Polo Team.
Yeah,
logo
you see
there.
that. Absolutely, yeah, it does. It looks like skull
it's
and
a cruise
crossbones
ship
with Bucks.
with polo mallets going through it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, yeah, that I'm a bit of a Raider fan, so I saw that I got a bit of flashback with the Oakland Raiders. But
yeah.
Hey, so curious. Talk about Polo with respect to the growth of luxury brands. And it's said that there's this symbiotic relationship. I'm going to ask a dumb question. Why is that?
Well, polo, historically has been called a sport of kings. It's always been in the luxury lifestyle communities like Palm Beach County, Florida, to Dubai, to Beverly Hills. It's been always in the luxury market, Saint-Tropez and so forth. I mean, I can go on and on. The lifestyle of polo and polo players, they're really synonymous because the people who play polo, you have to have money or be sponsored by organizations such as, again, Scenic Luxury Cruises, Hotels at Sea, Bugatti, Stellar, all these brands that sponsor the sport because they want access to the clientele and the enthusiasts that attend the games. And the audience that attends these games are generally affluent people that will be able to afford a nice bottle of champagne, a suite on Scenic Luxury Cruises, or a suite on any cruise line. Scenic is our partner this year, so we're proud of them and we thank them. And they also have a division called Emerald Yachts. Mm-hmm. So the type of people that will get on a Scenic ultra luxury cruise to go to Antarctica, board one of the 2 helicopters on Scenic Luxury Yachts, take the helicopter, go land on an iceberg, have a bartender in the back of the helicopter, get you your favorite whiskey, get the ice, a 40 million year old ice, and pour the whiskey into the ice and serve it to you, and you get that Instagram photo. I mean, listen, that's priceless. No matter what price tag is on that, these are the people that go to polo or attend polo or like to be associated to the sport because, again, we're all adrenaline junkies. We like to do things off the beaten path. We're adventurers. We're dare takers, risk takers, if you will. And that translates to the luxury market. Whether it's a luxury cruise line or a private jet company or high-end beverages that are very supportive, or new tech. Samsung came out this year in support of the World Cup, and they were announcing all this great new tech at the World Cup. So there's all sorts of interesting new people that have entered the luxury market because these people can afford it. Whether it's the enthusiast or the team owner or polo players or polo organizations or the corporate sponsors themselves that take a whole business office or a group out to polo, have their own tent, do their own entertaining hospitality. So it's the right place to be. It's the right place to be seen and co-mingle with other luxury partners. And a lot of our partners like to co-mingle. In the past, we've had Land Rover and Cartier. They like to co-mingle the same type of clientele because the same type of clientele that's buying a luxury Land Rover or Range Rover probably wants to also maybe buy a Cartier jewelry or a Cartier watch or a necklace. So there's a lot of cross-mingling in that sector because what one type of client like Scenic Luxury Cruises may have, well, Cartier and I keep saying Cartier because I captained Cartier for nearly a decade.
Oh, nice.
Representing them proudly, and we won many national championships and other World Cups, for them at Cartier. But these are the types of products that want to be associated, and they should be associated because we have the right clientele. We've got access to something you can't buy. You can't go online and get access like to be a World Cup sponsor with Polo Team USA. You have to be invited or submit your interest in being a partner, and we have to make sure it makes sense for us as well.
That's also, I would guess, true for cars, right? Because, or something else also I was thinking of, because my company's covered CES Las Vegas since 2010. And that's another area where I was thinking, wow, I see, well, this luxury brand, that luxury brand, and they all have a tech tie-in because they're consumer product related. In the instance of, for example, you mentioned Samsung. Samsung has a city large booth at CES Las Vegas that is chock full of technology that in some cases they haven't even released yet. But you get what I'm saying, right? It seems like a perfect area for Polo, right? You know,
it really is indeed. This was the first year Samsung was involved in the World Cup, and thanks to We Productions on that, and Juan did just a great job of that. But you know, opening up these corporate sponsors and bringing in an audience, that really makes sense, because you've got the top C's, meaning CEOs, CFOs, CMOs attending these events. These are decision makers. So whether, you know, somebody's there, decision maker, he might be the buyer for Hyatt hotels, or he might, you know, for South America, or he might be the buyer for, multiple cruise lines where, you know, we buy tens and thousands of dollars of units. But introducing the new tech is brilliant to the decision makers that are there. It's almost like you're lobbying. You know, that's what a lot of these folks are doing. You're not taking orders. You're not, you know, selling something, but you're lobbying your product, and you're promoting your product, and then you're planting a seed for the future. And this is why corporate sponsors, you know, the most prestigious brands in the world, even new companies that are entering it, like again Samsung and, you know, Monster Energy and other companies have entered the world of polo because of all these new opportunities for access.
Wow, it's totally fascinating. Hey, I don't want to get too far, although I could talk forever about what we're talking about because of our association with the Oscars and CES and the NFL, of course, you and I talked about off camera. But I got to talk about you, the reality TV star, because no one will let me get away without that. I mean, how? I mean, did you? I have to ask, because I imagine you've been asked every question. I feel like you have, because I watched a bunch of videos. But first of all, I really feel that. Talk to me about the White House situation, because I don't think you didn't crash. You know, you had an invitation.
Yeah, so there's no crashing at the White House. If you crash the White House, you're likely going to end up, you know, behind bars in jail. No, listen. Back then, reality TV was perceived as still reality TV. You know, most people said, "Oh, reality TV, it's real." You know, they really must have snuck in. Well, nowadays, when most people watch reality TV, they now know there's a little more involved. There's some serious production, and companies like NBC, you know, the owners of Bravo, that operated that show, The Real Housewives of DC, you know, they have a huge film crew of professionals. And, you know, I remember Carrie, one of the producers of the show, you know, was very clear to us, like, listen, we've got their permits, you know, because, you know, the White House is a national park. So you have to get a permit to film at the national park. So, you know, they show you, we have meetings with them. They say, okay, well, listen, we've got their permits. Here are the permits. They review all that kind of stuff with you. And, you know, it's really professionally well done. But we walked in with a film crew of, you know, 3-4 cameras, 2 sound booms, 2 makeup artist people. You know, it's a team of about 15 people. So you're not, you know, there's no jumping the gate or anything like that. We walked in. It was all prearranged. Of course, you know, I don't remember if it was 60 Minutes or who it was, but somebody finally asked a question months later. Well, how do they say his name so perfectly well? And that's when the light bulb went off. Like, yeah, how did they do that? Well, most people don't know. They actually contact you in advance and say, how do you pronounce the name? Especially for the India state dinner, and that's what it was India. Everybody had a foreign name. Most people, you know, attending the White House state dinner. So, in fact, somebody does contact you in advance. How do you pronounce it? And Tareq Salahi, you know, is not an easy name to say or pronounce perfectly well. And if you go back and you roll back the video on that, the U.S. Marine that's announcing, the name says it 100% perfectly because
Yeah.
he was coached to do that. So,
Aha.
yeah, so we, of course we walked in, and it became, in a strange way, the controversy was probably the greatest thing for that freshman series because it brought so much attention to that show that it was the highest rated freshman series in the history of Bravo TV.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
it hit the records, it hit the numbers. Everybody was happy with that. It didn't get renewed because it was so controversial around the White House. And most people weren't aware that, the inner dealings that we were, back then we had signed NDAs with NBC. All that has now expired. But our contract got picked up from Bravo and reassigned to NBC when we decided to partner with NBC. And at that time, Matt Lauer, and we were working with his team on that. And we just decided to, create a stronger relationship with NBC Universal and with NBC News. And we did a slew of media all over the world for the show under their direction. Yeah.
Wow. That is a story I have not heard. That's the real story. That's the backstory as to.
That's a real story. I mean, I wasn't able to talk about it for years because of the NDA that we all signed, but that's all now expired and everything's done. And I keep documents in my safe here that even my wife has seen. It's classified that shows indeed documentation that it was organized. There was a film permit. There's not a secret that we were coming. It was pretty well. Everybody was notified. But that's okay. The Democrats and Republicans wanted to make a stink about it and say, well, President Obama, you can't control the White House, but you can't control your guest list.
Oh God.
What an absurd.
Poor Barack.
That's what it became. And, most people, I don't even know if that C-SPAN is still out there. But in the beginning, when you're called to Congress and for the hearing, you get 30 seconds to say, or 60, to say anything you want without being held accountable. So I made it clear. I said, listen, if you really wanted to protect the President of the United States, President Obama, if you were sincere about the security of the White House, you could have taken an attorney proffer statement from our counsel and NBC and learned the real facts of what happened that night and prior to that night. Of course, they didn't want to hear it because it was election time and everybody wanted their time on camera to talk about this alleged, White House party crashing. So
I remember I saw my friend Gloria Allred in one of your videos, and I was listening. I said, "Gloria, you got to be kidding me! Come on!"
Gloria is wonderful. She was such a great advocate. Her daughter, Lisa Bloom, an amazing attorney, one of the best in the country. And Chuck Roberts was involved. Stephen Best really knocked it out of the park. I mean, he gave it to Congress, just saying, "Listen, we gave you a chance. You could take an attorney proffer statement. We could have showed you all the information between the United States government and NBC and Bravo, but you chose not to read it. You didn't want to see it. You all wanted to be on TV because it's election season, election time. And you all want to be reelected. They all wanted to be on, back then, all those the regular shows, all the talking head shows,
I got to ask, what was Barack like? I only met him once. We had a fundraiser for him at the Mark Hopkins in 2007 in San Francisco. And that's another long story. I want to hear you. How was he for you?
Well, we started out really early with Barack Obama. I came in, my winery, Oasis Winery time, came in as the official wine for Rock the Vote.
Oh, okay.
And Junior Senator Obama was the keynote speaker at the Rock the Vote, and he just fired everybody up. So we had at that time, as the main sponsor, I was sitting with Will I Am.
I know Will.
Whole gang from the Black Eyed Peas. We were all together, and there's a picture floating out there, of President Obama, myself with the Black Eyed Peas, and that's actually from that program where we launched to be the official wine of Rock the Vote. Rock the Vote was great because it really helped. Well, it helped everybody. Democrats really took it to a whole new level, but it helped everybody, whether you're a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, or you weren't even sure who you were, if you wanted to be affiliated to any of those, or you're too young. And now it's time to activate the youth. And Rock the Vote was really this concept that we beta tested in Washington, D.C. by hosting nighttime events at prestigious high-end restaurants, nightclubs. And as they were walking in, guess what we got them to do? Register to vote.
Right.
Register to vote.
Yep.
So that was the premise of Rock the Vote. Really, the very first hour. And my friend Justin was really the leader on that, who worked close with Terry McAuliffe. And Justin, he's just such a lovely, first-class gentleman. And we launched this thing together, and it just took off throughout the country. And at the end of the day, looking back at it, it got a lot more younger people activated to make their own decision.
Yeah, and I remember the posters and everything, and I'm listening to you, and I'm tickled because I'm thinking, you might have been. Were you at the Pepsi Center in 2008 then? Yeah. See, yeah. I was one of the first 128 bloggers ever invited to cover a Democratic National Convention. That was
really?
Yeah. I took a set of 3 other fans of my first blog, Zenny Zeitgeist. We were written up in the local Tribune, and then CNN had me on to be their vlogger on the scene. So CNN I Report. So yeah, we might have passed by each other.
We had to.
Yeah, you had to. That's the small world stuff, man. That's great.
But listen, Obama was interesting because he generally wanted to know like who you are.
Yeah.
What you're doing in business. And when we were sponsoring that Rock the Vote event, he went out for a cigarette, and I went out to take a breath of fresh air. And we were both out there, and he's I don't know if I'm getting him in trouble that he was taking a smoking break or not, but he was having his cigarette that he used to do every now and then.
Yep.
And he said, "Well, all these limousines that say Oasis Winery, are you just rich, or what do you do? What is that?" Like, no, not rich, but I'm a businessman, and we do wine tours of Virginia, and we take people out to wine country, and we pick you up, and we do business events. Oh, you're an entrepreneur. Oh, right on. We hit it off like that. And then Justin would always keep inviting me out to events where Barack Obama was, and it was just a great relationship we had with the winery and with our businesses. And again, you don't have to be Democrat, Republican, or I'm always about the man or the woman, the person. I don't consider myself really attached to one party. I'm about the candidate or about the human being, who's the human being there. And that's how I make my decision. And, that very first moment, he says, "Oh, a businessman, right on, starting young and, go strong." And, and here we're just having fun sharing these moments. And then suddenly we're with the Black Eyed Peas and, all these things started hitting off where, Fergie's family, they have a vineyard. A lot of people don't even know that.
I didn't know that. Wow, really?
Yeah, Fergie's family, they got a Cabernet Sauvignon vineyard that they have planted. So we started talking about wine, and then the rest of the guys I helped with establishing and even designing wine cellars. And Will.i.am and I, we stayed in touch for many, many years, after that. And he's probably one of the greatest entrepreneurs of all entrepreneurs. He's amazing. So it's a small world.
I met him. I believe this is correct. I have the video. I met him CES Las Vegas, I want to say 2015, because he was in the press room out, and the video where I'm going in and he's coming out, and I had a Star Trek pin because I'm a huge Trekker going back to when I was
I am too.
Yeah.
I love
going back to my Federation Trading Post days and all that stuff in the 70s. But anyway, he seeks to, even before he said hello, he took his finger and he pressed it out like this to press my button like it's a communicator. And I'm like, dude.
Why does that not surprise me? I love it.
And I'm like, dude, and I didn't get that part on camera. Well, actually, I think I did. And we were talking, and I was saying, "Hey, so is Samsung sponsor?" He goes, "No, man, I'm my own. No, I ain't sponsor." He was killing me.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Man.
Hey, so how do people follow? I know they can go to your Hotels by the Sea website. Is that the best place to start?
Yeah, if they're interested in a cruise with us, hotelsatsea.com. We have cruises where you can just buy your own cruise as an individual, whether it's a suite just for your family, a vacation or getaway or girlfriend's getaway, We also have curated cruises where I will lead them. So whether it's going to Italy, wine country, or whether it's going to where our next program is to the Seychelles and then South Africa with a safari. We're doing that on January 7th, 2025. And then we have the exciting program that I mentioned earlier with Scenic Ultra Luxury Cruises going to Antarctica. And after that cruise, we have a polo event in Buenos Aires in Palermo that we will be having hospitality at for the quarterfinals, semifinals, and if anybody wants to stay even longer for the finals. So we have all these nice, interesting curated programs. We have one in Asia going to Mekong River, again with Scenic Luxury Cruises. So go to that website, hotelsatsea.com. Our Instagram is Hotels at Sea, Resorts at Sea. It will populate automatically when they go to Instagram to see all our exciting events and programs that we do, including our polo operations that we do. And then if anybody's around where we're playing polo anywhere in the world, we've got box seats and VIP tents at most places that we participate in. So guests are welcome to our box seats. We have catering, we have beverages, we have a bar. Our team and our staff welcomes people to come down, learn about us, learn about our cruises that we offer with our luxury partners with Hotels at Sea, and we invite everyone to join us on a cruise. Cruising is just the most wonderful way to travel, where you unpack once. And personally, I don't do a lot of the big ships anymore. I mean, I've done them, they're fun, but I've now really gone into a different direction where I love the smaller boutique type, from 100 persons to 200, a few hundred, not anymore in the 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 range like the big ships are these days. But I love them because, they're all focused about luxury and everybody's treated equally. And they're generally all sweet ships. Like I said, Scenic, 2 helicopters, a submarine.
Yeah.
You
That
can
was
fly
like,
around Antarctica or over the polar bears in the Arctic, and then you could be on the yacht in your suite in a hot tub drinking Dom Perignon. And then you can go underwater drinking your Dom Perignon, cheering to the whales looking at you. So you got something for everybody, and again, Scenic has 10 restaurants on board for 250 guests max. That's what Celebrity Cruises or other cruise lines have for 2,500 to 3,000 passengers. So that tells you where the luxury market is going. And it's a diverse amount of cuisine too that they all offer. But everybody is wonderful, and everybody has something for somebody at every budget and every location. And Scenic does all 7 continents in the world, so that makes them very interesting. And people who don't like to be around too many people, well, that's probably the direction you want to go, is towards Scenic or Emerald yachts, and that's what they are. They're just really just large super yachts with ultimate hospitality and cuisine and entertainment. So that I really love that section, and people can learn a lot more about what we offer and what we do is definitely through the website or coming to our polo matches and seeing us. And there you go, hotelsatsea.com. Yeah.
Hey, so we'll have to have you back. This has been a lot of fun. We go on for another hour or two, but I know that time. But hey, everybody, thank you very much for viewing, and share this video, by the way, and like it as well. And hey, Tareq, you got to come back on, man. It's a lot of fun.
I'd be an honor and privilege to come back on. Thanks so much for having me, and looking forward to seeing you at a polo match, I hope, in the near future.
Definitely. We got to talk about that because I would love to do that. Hey,
well,
folks,
I'm leaving tomorrow morning to play in a championship game in Virginia. So I'm currently in Palm Beach right now, county, and I'm heading up there playing at Morven Park, which is a historic park in Leesburg, Virginia. So our team will be playing in a championship game there, and we have a nice tent party we'll be hosting. So if anybody's watching and wants to join, just have them reach out to through us on either Instagram or any social media outlet that we have affiliated with Hotels at Sea or the Polo Team USA. The Instagram for Polo Team USA is IPT Polo Team USA. So again, easy to find on Instagram, and we welcome any of your viewers, and we look forward to seeing you either at a polo match or on board a cruise ship in the future.
Cool. And hey, you don't have to move a muscle. I got it taken care of. Everybody, we'll be back later in the day to talk NFL, Oakland politics, mayors being recalled, all that you sort of rot. But remember, subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark our newest website, ZennyReport.com. And don't forget, San Diego Comic-Con, we have San Diego Comic-Con News.com, and we have CES Las Vegas News.com. It's all under the Zenny62 Media brand. Thanks, Tareq. Stick around in the background. Don't move a muscle. That ends this stream, folks. Thank you all. It's been a ton of